Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Potside Chats. We're your hosts, Stephanie and Nathan, and joining us today is our distinguished guest, Tian Xuan, who is Vice Dean and Chair Professor of Finance at the PBC School of Finance right here at Tsinghua University. Thank you so much for joining us today, Professor.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you indeed. Now, this episode is all about the two sessions of the Lianghui, which is the annual plenary sessions of the National People's Congress and the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. And this year is notably different because we're going into the final year of the 14th five-year plan.
So China's five-year plans are a series of initiatives, social and economic, that the country will focus on for that period of time. And as Nathan said, this is the last year of the 14th five-year plan. So Professor Tian, reflecting back, what are some of the significant economic achievements of China over these last 5 years?
Looking back, actually, I think we have achieved a couple of things. First of all, the economic growth, actually, the economic output goes well. Back to 2020 of the first year, when the 14th five-year plan just started, our GDP was about just around 100 trillion yuan. And last year, it was 134.9 trillion yuan. The very first time surpassed the 130 trillion yuan hurdle. And the second, we observe a huge amount of innovation, technological innovation. Sort of, these high-tech industries have very quick development. We have observed quick development in AI, these deep seek things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? We have good progress on the big data, cloud computing, and also clean energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess lastly, in the last 4 years, actually, people's living standards have improved a lot.
Well, let's start there then.
Right.
If we think about domestic demand,
Right.
in response to China's increase in the aging population and lower birth rate,
Right.
we've seen also an increase in the retirement age.
Right.
So will this have an impact on domestic consumption, and if so, how?
Yes, actually, you raised a very important question, because right now the insufficient domestic demand, including consumption and investment, is probably one of the most important issues in China, and it's also on the very top list of the China's government's to-do list. People's confidence needs to be reboosted. So I think China needs to do a lot of things to promote domestic demand. For example, we need to implement, we call it a moderately loose monetary policy.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we need to the People's Bank of China, PBC, needs to pick the best timing to reduce the reserve requirement rate,
Mm-hmm.
which can provide more liquidity to the markets, to the financial markets. The PBC also needs to reduce interest rates, cut interest rates, to reduce the financial cost of households and the companies.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing we need to do is a so-called more proactive fiscal policy. In other words, the central government need to spend more money to increase the government spending to support some public services, to increase leverage, to spend money.
Would that be some sectors like healthcare to support
Exactly.
the aging population?
Healthcare, exactly.
Okay.
Healthcare, and also, the education,
Mm.
these industries. We also need to work on the infrastructure. And another thing I think we need to do next is to establish this we call industrial parks, sort of to promote to allow the silver economy companies to work closely with companies in other industries, like healthcare, like tourism, like culture, which may make the lives of these elder people more colorful.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of innovation in the industrial parks.
Exactly.
When we travel around
Yeah.
China, and
You'll see a lot, right?
you see a lot of
Yeah.
innovative and collaborative
Exactly.
technology, along with universities.
It also helps to solve the real estate problem because of this silver, this silver economy includes the housing market, provide better housing services to these elderly people. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the real estate
Sure.
sector since you bring it up.
Yep.
So last year we did see policies and measures put in place
Yep.
To help.
Right.
Two of those being lowering the demand for a down payment,
Right.
And also lowering interest rates.
Sure.
So what policies could we expect, or what do you think might be necessary to help mitigate risk and reduce debt?
Right. Actually, the real estate market is one of the three we call sources of financial risks, systematic risks. Real estate market, local government debt, and mid-size, small-size financial institutions. These are the three sources of financial risks, systematic risk right now. So China's government actually puts a lot of effort trying to address the issues, the concerns in the real estate market. And actually, we see some progress. It has been doing pretty well. The confidence, actually, the market confidence recovers. For example, in the last year, if we see some number, the sales area and the sales volume actually show a positive increase on a year-to-year goals. So the market confidence is coming back, and the government actually work very hard to help these companies, real estate companies, especially those in trouble. And also China's economy is in a process of transformation. We do not heavily rely on real estate market. Now we sort of upgrade to, we call it new quality product forces, right? Innovation, sort of new techniques, green energy, digital economy, something like that. So I'm quite optimistic that with all these policies, efforts, and supports, China's real estate market is going to go back to the right track and will not affect Chinese economy adversely.
And speaking of new quality productive forces, as the Chinese economy moves away from relying so much on traditional industries, what new industries or new business models do you feel will be significant drivers of growth in the economy moving forward?
Absolutely. It's different from the traditional driving forces of China's economic growth. So technological innovation is a key of these new quality product forces. So actually, since then, we observe a lot of effort has been put to promote new quality product forces, and China's economic goals, technological innovation has been made significant progress. For example, the 5G technology, the AI we just discussed, and also the quantum computing, cloud computing, and so on. Especially, I would like to mention the digital economy, which has contributed over 40%, almost 50% of the China's GDP in the last year.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's very impressive, and it significantly increases the efficiency of investment.
We did hear recently that Xi Jinping met with some business leaders to talk about the private economic sector.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts in terms of the trajectory of the private economy?
Actually, private sector, there is we say private sector contributes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which means it contributes to more than 50% of Chinese tax income, more than 60% of China's GDP growth, more than 70% of China's innovation output, more than 80% of job creation, and more than 90% of the number of companies. So it's a very, very important sector.
It's large.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's large. And so, especially when we see, these important persons like Jack Ma, like Pony Ma, meeting with President Xi, it's very encouraging. And also Liang Wenfeng, who is the founder of the DeepSeek, was also there. So actually, I'm very encouraged because, my research focuses on, one of my research theme is on how to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. So, as a delegate to the National People's Congress, one of the proposals I provide, I plan to submit is about the protection of the private sector, how to promote entrepreneurship and innovation. For example, I would like to propose we should start the formulation of the personal bankruptcy law in China.
Oh, okay.
In US, you have personal
right,
bankruptcy
right.
law.
Yeah.
We don't have.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
We
Oh, how
have corporation
interesting.
bankruptcy law, but we do not have personal bankruptcy law.
Okay.
Starting a business is a very risky
Sure.
Yeah.
thing.
And this would be a step in
Sure.
giving them some confidence to take more risks in
Exactly.
a positive risk.
Exactly, positive risks. Right.
Moving forward to some external forces.
Right.
We know on the global stage right now, Trump is back in office in America, and we might see a return to the trade war
Right.
that we saw in 2018.
Right.
What were some of the most significant economic impacts of that 2018 trade war in China?
Well, the most significant impact was the disruption to China's export. Even though the tariffs were not paid by U.S., by Chinese companies, U.S. importers paid these tariffs,
Yes.
and they are going to pass on these tariffs to costs to U.S.
The
consumers.
Sure.
So which means it's going to increase the cost of exporting Chinese products to the U.S., leading to a dramatic drop to the export demand. So back to 2018, we observed, by the number you can observe, a lot of Chinese companies were hurted, affected, especially the consumer goods industry companies like toys, clothing, home appliances, and electronics.
To return to maybe a slightly happier topic, a sunnier topic, as we mentioned at the top of the show, this is the last year in the 14th five-year plan.
Right.
And what is your outlook on the trajectory of the Chinese economy for the next 5-10 years?
10 years. Well, my outlook, first of all, I'm very optimistic about China's economy goals, economic goals in the next 5 or 10 years. I think if we can keep average of 4 to 5% of GDP growth rate by 2035, in 10 years, that will be the end of 16th five-year plan. China will become one of the middle-level, high-income countries. And another thing, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years, people's quality of living is going to be much improved. More social, including the pension, social security, healthcare, education, all kinds of things to improve people's quality of people's lives.
Yeah, eradicating absolute poverty is like step one,
Exactly.
and then you continue to build on that.
Exactly. And as President Xi says, the people's aspiration for a better life is what we are striving for.
Well, Professor, I think that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Absolutely. That
My
was
pleasure.
incredibly insightful. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you joining us again, and we will see you next time on Potside Chats.
Okay, bye-bye.